I'm not afraid to say this, but a long time ago when I used to smoke, if you know what I mean, the worst experience I ever had was 2 times with the cops, 1 time myself. The first time with a cop was when one of my friends, or not one of my friends, one of my brother's friends always came over to the house, I guess running off from his mom's, and the cops always had to come over and get him because he constantly would run off, but the mother would always know where he goes because it was the only friend he had was my brother. And so there was one of the times that I left my my pipe, let's just say. You know, I don't smoke anymore, but this was years ago. And when I looked, the cops came in again while it was on the table next to my TV, and they looked over and saw it, and I was like, oh God, they're gonna ask who's that and whose is that, and then I'm gonna get my ass chewed out. Luckily, they didn't care. I thought I was gonna get in trouble for it, but they just took the kid that hung out with my friend, took him, and just left. But the second one is when I was with one of my friends, and we went, I can't remember what we were doing. I think he got in trouble for speeding. So we got pulled over in a car for him speeding, I think it was. And it's raining, I think. Give me a second. But yeah, so I was trying to figure out how the story went. So we got pulled over by a cop, and then at the point, the cop was like, oh, you guys were speeding, and at the time my friend was eating the weed like as quick as he could so he wouldn't get in trouble. Well, too late. Cop came to the window, and the cop instantly knew what he was doing. I was like, oh, we're screwed. And luckily the cop was cool about it and said, oh no, it's fine, and this and that, you're good, and this and that. I'm like, oh, thank God. I thought I was gonna go to jail because the cop caught him eating the weed, trying to get away with it, and the cop just told him it's all cool. And I was like, God. And then the worst experience I had smoking it was I actually ate an edible, and I ate half of this cookie that was edible, and I didn't think it would do anything because I took it and I didn't feel strange. I was like, what is this supposed to do? I don't feel any different. Next thing you know, I start having a body high, and I had to tell everybody, certain people, I started freaking out. I was like having to tell them that I had to have people walk around with me and outside because we were in an apartment complex where we lived, and I told my brothers and my mom, somebody's got to walk with me outside and blah blah blah, I'm tripping, blah blah blah. And I remember I still had one of the sweaters on my TikTok, if you follow me on TikTok, where it looks like that Pikachu sweater. I was using that at the time this stuff happened. Some kids ran past me and said, look, it's Pikachu. And to me, that sounded like their voices were echoing, and it sounded like it kept echoing, and when it stopped, it was weird. And then when I walked, my footsteps kept echoing. It didn't sound like normal footsteps. It sounded like it just was like me stepping in metal that just echoes off the walls everywhere type feeling. And then one of my brothers at this point decided to walk with me. And I think we were walking to the mailbox, and the mailbox was a far walk a little bit, so it made it sense to walk somewhere along. At one point though, I swear to God, a kid threatened him and said something and blah blah blah, and I swear he told that kid to shut up and stuff. And then I asked my brother, I was like, who was that threatened you? And he looked at me and he was like, nobody threatened me, nobody said anything to me. So I was like, what? So nobody said nothing about threatening you or nothing? They're like, no. And I'm like, okay, that's weird. But those were my worst experience between cops, of having greens and eating an edible. That was my worst. Never again, anyways, though. But on my way to work again today. I'll upload this later when I get home. Deuces.